Mexico hasn't always been what it is today. A lot of events had to happen in order to make it the country we know. Let's start with the basic things like the natural resources that make it a really biodiverse country and have always been there. From energy to precious metals, Mexico's natural resources include oil, gold, copper, silver, and natural gas. Thousands of people know the beauty of the natural landscapes of the country. Nevertheless, Mexico also has substantial oil reserves, numerous mines, and hundreds of hectares of fertile land. The main crops are rice, beans, wheat, cottonseed, corn grain, and safflower. Other important ones would be avocado, strawberries, cantaloupe, apples, and other fruits. Mexico is also a livestock country. It has large areas where bovines, sheep, and pigs are raised. The production is divided in milk, honey, eggs, and meat. Mexico is one of the most important producers of silver, sodium sulfate, mercury, graphite, lead, salt, and copper. The fishing industry is also big in the country. With all these resources, it's evident that Mexico could be a very economically stable and developed country, which means that if it hasn't progressed substantially, it's because we haven't taken advantage of these things the best way possible.
Mexico is located in north of the American continent, in the western hemisphere to the west of the Greenwich Meridian. The country's territorial extension is of 1,375,964, which is ranked in the 14th place among the countries with the largest territory. Mexico's coordinates are the following ones. Mexico is bordered to the north with the United States of America and to the southeast with Guatemala and Belize. The maximum height is presented in the top of the main volcanoes, reaching 506,010 meters above the sea level, and we can see that height in the Pico de Orizaba.
These are one of the most important moments in the history of Mexico. First, the Mexican independence that was on 1810. This was a moment where the Mexicans fought to gain autonomy from the Spanish rule. Also, in 1917, the Constitution of Mexico was approved by the Constitutional Congress, and Venustiano Carranza became the first president. After that, on 1954, the woman was allowed to vote for the first time. And do you know that Mexico hosted the Summer Olympics on 1968? This was the only time that Mexico has hosted the Olympics. Also, in that same year, happened this terrible situation. It was the Tlatelolco massacre. It was a killing of students and civilians by military and police on October 3rd. In Plaza de las Tres Culturas, where approximately between 300 and 400 people died.
In the year 2000, the population of Mexico was about 100 million people. 18 years ago, this number has increased in almost 28 million people. Most of the Mexican population is Catholic. Since the population has been increasing, the density of it is something that grows or decreases at the same level. During the 90s, the density of the population was between 40 and 45 people in 1 square kilometer. Nowadays, it is almost 65 people in 1 square kilometer. Even though the population has been continuously growing, the rate of growth in 1970 was 3.1%, and nowadays the rate is 1.4. It is a fact that years ago, the hope of life both in Mexico and in the world was quite low compared to now. In Mexico, in 1960 was approximately 57 years. Now it is 79. At present, the mortality rate is 4.8 per thousand people. This figure has considerably increased in the last 10 years. From 1970 to 2000, the median age increased in 5 years, from 21.8 to 26.6 years, and 18 years later it has only increased to 27. The fertility rate is 2.3 children per woman. There are approximately 1.2 million migrants. Unemployment in Mexico has reached its lowest level in 11 years. According to data from INEGI, only 3.2% of the economically active population doesn't work.